Hello Internet, it's Tidal Wave here, and as awkward as this feels for me, because I never normally record my voice, and I never normally make videos, and I'm doing this on my mobile phone while walking around my house. And if I sound weird, I have a cold. Right, okay. So, sonichentai.net. Let me discuss this with you quickly, because I had some points I wanted to make, and I hope you will indulge me while I express my view. Basically, the legality of the site is up for debate. I personally don't think it's illegal, but I don't really want to get into legality as such. What I want to get into is perceived legality of the site, and why this may not be the motivating factor for people attacking the website recently. I think my phone is messing up. There we go. Right, we're good. Okay, now the thing is, my theory is that people actually have no real legal gripe with the website, regardless as to whether it's actual legal status. The reason why I think people attack the website is because they personally don't like the content, be it because they believe it to be comparable in some way to Lolicon, or be it because they don't approve of it for other reasons. I think that ultimately they just do not approve of the content on there. They don't like furries, or they don't like the subculture, and they're using any weapon they can to attack these people and stop them from being able to express themselves. I know this because basically a while ago the site was being compared to, it was being attacked for being comparable in their eyes to bestiality, which is obviously unusual as a comparison, because drawings aren't the same as actual animals. So we start with that as our premise. You know, it's crazy to attack a site with drawings of something as if it's the same as the real thing. It's a bit like saying someone playing Grand Theft Auto, it's the same as going out into the street and murdering large numbers of people. And we all know that's obviously not the case. Just that's why we don't ban the vast majority of artwork. We allow violent artwork. I mean, as far as I'm aware, you're allowed to draw with a pencil bestiality. It doesn't matter because it's not real. It only really starts to become a legal issue, I think, when it's children, because it's a very sensitive topic in society, and in all societies really. Anyway, right, so I know that it's not just about, it's not about one particular legal issue. It's about I think it's about generally attacking a website that people just makes them feel uncomfortable. They don't like the fact that people talk about these topics and that people have these alternative interests. They don't understand or like the fact that people are sexually aroused by these things. I mean, as I say, people always think that because I own the site, I must be the most sexually aroused by it. That's not necessarily true. Well, it's not true. I mean, I thoroughly enjoy running the website, but I don't, me running the website doesn't really mean anything. I sit in the background working on servers most of the time. Anywho, so basically I think that people just don't approve of the content on a sort of social level. They don't think that people should be attracted to it, or they don't understand why people are attracted to it, and so they want to silence it because they find it, sort of offensive or whatever to them. But ultimately, I think that you must understand, people must understand that if something isn't hurting anyone, that if people are just drawing pictures, how is that hurting anyone? And how is that hurting you? How is that hurting anyone? There are 18 site stickers all over the website, all over all of these sites. How is it really hurting anyone? And if it's not hurting anyone, then why are we attacking it? You know what I mean? Why is it a problem? Most things in society that we actually make illegal or that we actually attack are in some way hurting another person. But in the case of this, in the case of drawings, I mean, the example I always use is, do you want to go up to someone who's actually drawing a picture, and let's say someone's sitting at home with a pencil drawing lolicon, at what point does that become illegal, for example?
Now, as I say, I'm not saying that SHNet is illegal like lolicon. I personally don't think it is, and I personally don't think it's the same.
But I'm saying that the idea of being outraged over a drawing and thinking that drawing should be flat out banned is really quite totalitarian, and it concerns me because I'm a very liberal-minded person, and I think that people should be allowed to do anything they wish as long as it doesn't hurt other people. And I think that as long as you go by that rule, people tend to live together reasonably happily. It's a live and let live situation, and I don't see why that's a problem. I don't see why we need to attack people like this over just being sexually aroused by different things, or being attracted to different things, or liking different things. I mean, there's people out there who like bondage, who like all these things, who like lots of consensual sex acts between two adult humans. And I'm sure that people are offended or supportive or whatever of that to varying degrees. But it's wrong. As long as the act is consensual and is between two people of adult age, in reality, then obviously no one's getting hurt and they should be left to their own devices. When something is a drawing, no one is getting hurt, and I don't personally see the problem. As I say, I don't think that SHNet is the same as lolicon, but I'm just saying that I believe the issue is not legality at all. I believe the issue is intolerance of other people, and intolerance of what other people enjoy, and a desire to impose your will on others and to tell others they can't do it. I personally believe that if there was one word to describe what this is, this attack on SonicInfo.net and everything that we've seen, it's bullying. I think it basically boils down to simple bullying. It's entirely the same as what happens in a school. You know, you've got someone who wants to, exert their will on someone else to boost their ego and to make the other person feel lower. And it's ultimately purely instinctive. It's ultimately a very natural, basic desire amongst all animals to push other people down and push yourself higher. It's inevitable. But I hope that people have a little bit more control over their instincts than this. I certainly don't do it, not because I don't feel I'm capable, but because I think it's a very primitive, very basic, sort of base thing to do. I consider myself too intellectual to do that. I consider it to be an insult to my own intelligence to start trying to push other people down. Just to make myself feel better. My ego isn't built on that. My sense of self-pride is not built on pushing other people down. It's built on a feeling of that I'm contributing something because I care very much about fair trade, organic food, all this sort of stuff. Anyway, so that's pretty much it, really. I think that I'm just going to check to make sure this phone is even still recording at this point. Yes, wicked, fantastic. I don't know if I'll have to split this up, but I hope that that's helped to clarify things a little bit more. As I say, I do think that people who attack the site need to look deep within themselves and ask themselves honestly why they're doing this. Are they doing this because they're genuinely passionate about the law? In which case, if you're passionate about the law and legal issues, and that is your reason, you're passionate about that, and you believe that if something is illegal, you need to fight to get it removed and removed from society, then I would hope that if you're continuing that same ethic and that same attitude, that you would report any of your friends anytime they ever smoke marijuana, anytime they drink underage, even if by a year, I mean even technically if by 6 months, that you would always adhere to that. You never smoke marijuana yourself, you've never drunk underage, you have never done anything illegal ever in your entire life, and if anyone that you know would ever do that, you would report them. And no one lives like that, but if you do, then have at it, and I fully understand why you would attack things you perceive to be illegal. If it's genuinely moral concern, then again, have at it. You know what I mean? That's your own prerogative. I still think it's wrong to attack people for your own personal morals if they're not hurting anyone. But at least it's honest. I still think it's wrong, but it's honest. If it's just a desire to better someone else and beat someone else, which I think it usually is. I think it is in the case of effects of entropy. I think it is in the case of most of his followers, and not everyone. I mean, there might be varying reasons, but I think it definitely is for effects of entropy in a significant percentage of his followers. Then I think you need to look deep within yourself and ask why you feel the need. You feel it's essential to your ego, or you feel the need to push other people down, and you feel the need to beat other people and constantly assert that sort of superiority and authority over others, and constantly belittle others and make others feel like that what they're doing is inadequate, and only you, and you at least, even if not only you have the answer, you feel better the whole time. And I think it's genuinely concerning if that's where you get your sense of self-pride, and that's where you get your ego, and that's just your ego boost. I think that I know a lot of people do get it from there, but I wouldn't advise it. I don't think it brings true happiness. I don't think that it's very intelligent, and I don't think it's very nice for other people, and I don't think it will ultimately lead to any happiness in life, because you'll be constantly trying to beat others, and you'll be constantly basing your self-worth on others' perceived lack of self-worth. Anyway, that's my 2 cents supposedly on SHNet, but I know I have gone wildly off topic, kind of. Anyway, and just as a little 5 seconds about me, I know you all like to think, or a number of you like to think, that I'm the Antichrist. In reality, I'm just some guy who started a website. The site before it, I won't tell you the name because, I don't know, seems pointless. Just disappeared off the internet. The one before SHNet, I started SHNet because the community was homeless, basically, e-homeless, I-homeless, whatever you want to call it, and I wanted to give them a place to go. I wanted to give them a new place to frequent on the internet. I contacted a lot of the old members. I told them about my new forum. It started off very small. I was only very new to the interests, although I've always been into Sega and Sonic, but it was just a passing sort of interest. But I wanted to give people somewhere to go. It became very big, very quick, well, relatively quickly. And the rest is history. But it doesn't mean that I didn't set out to do something evil. I set out, and at no point, it's still not evil. It's never evil. They're just drawings. But it was just a way of giving a community somewhere to congregate again, because they had nowhere to go. And I don't judge people. I want people. I don't agree with everything on my forum. I don't agree with every thread. But I believe in freedom, and I believe in giving people the ability, the freedom and the space to come together and discuss whatever they wish without me sitting there judging. And I think that everyone should try to embrace the ideals of freedom and stuff. Anyway, right, this becomes going full hippie on you. Right, that's it, really. That's it, that's everything. I'm just some guy in England who runs a website or two on the internet. And SHNet is, I don't run many adult sites. I run SHNet, and I run hentai forums, which is a very, very small, largely failed site that hangs off a bit. And then I run a whole load of non-adult sites with no debatable content whatsoever. Right, this is Tidal Wave signing off. I hope you've enjoyed my British accent. I know that people always do, which makes me very, very nervous to speak at all, really, using my normal voice. But yes, bye-bye internet. I hope that this has been in some way interesting to you. And this is Tidal Wave signing off. Bye-bye.